Right now, you can book 2 nights inside a $375 million casino, meals included, for $165 per person. That is not a clearance sale. The industry has a clinical term for it, distressed inventory, and the room price is not even the most disturbing thing hiding inside this building. Something was buried in its basement since opening night in 1993, and it took 17 years before anyone thought to look. The reason this casino became distressed inventory is the same reason it became the most photographed silhouette on the Las Vegas Strip. It is a pyramid. And a pyramid, it turns out, is a beautiful thing to look at and a catastrophic thing to operate. This is a building where every wall slopes inward at 39 degrees. The rooms shrink as you climb. The atrium, the largest in the world by volume, big enough to stack 9 Boeing 747s without grazing the ceiling, devours floor space a normal casino would sell. Guests ride diagonal elevators called inclinators because normal ones do not work at that angle. You cannot add a wing, you cannot raise a floor, you cannot punch through a wall without fighting the geometry of a shape that has resisted modification for nearly 5,000 years. A rectangular casino can become anything. A pyramid can only ever be a pyramid. When it opened in October 1993, none of that seemed to matter. A company called Circus Enterprises had spent 18 months and $375 million, funded primarily from internal cash flows, building what was on paper the most spectacular casino Las Vegas had ever seen. 30 stories clad in 13 acres of black glass, 3/4 the scale of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the 4th largest pyramid on the planet. The steeply sloping glass made it one of the most dangerous construction jobs the Strip had ever attempted. But what came out of that risk looked like a bet that had paid off. Flat-bottom barges carried guests along an indoor Nile River that circled the entire base. A sphinx taller than a 10-story building guarded the entrance, so large the hotel driveway passes through its body. And from the peak, the strongest man-made light on Earth fired into the Mojave sky every night, visible to pilots 275 miles away. Then the shape started fighting back. By 1996, the Nile was gone. The barges moved so slowly, guests could walk to their rooms faster than they could ride. The channel was filled with concrete and paved into a walkway. You cross it today without knowing a river is underneath your feet. In late 1995, after a pilot was temporarily blinded during takeoff, the Federal Aviation Administration ordered every laser display within about 19 miles of McCarran Airport suspended. 2 of the original headline experiences gone within 3 years of opening. A pyramid cannot do that. Remove a feature and there is no clean surface to rebuild on. Add a room and the geometry fights you at every angle. Every architect who has studied the Luxor reaches the same conclusion. The shape that made it the most recognizable silhouette on the Strip is the same shape that makes it nearly impossible to repurpose. That is a survivable problem, as long as the original concept keeps selling, as long as Egypt still draws a crowd. By 2005, it did not. MGM Mirage acquired the Luxor's parent company, looked at the numbers and concluded that Egypt itself was the problem. What they did next cost nearly as much as building the pyramid in the first place. $300 million. That was the budget to rip the Egyptian theme out of a building shaped like Egypt. Strip the hieroglyphs, tear out King Tut's tomb replica, remove the talking mechanical camels, replace it all with nightclubs, celebrity restaurants, adult entertainment. Felix Rappaport, the Luxor's president at the time, told the Las Vegas Sun the theme worked great for the outside, but was a disappointment on the inside. The goal was to make the casino more sticky. So they gutted it. In came nightclub LAX, in came Bodies, the exhibition, in came a Chris Angel residency, out went the Egyptologists, out went the mythology that every surface had been designed to serve. MGM had run this playbook across the Strip. Monte Carlo became Park MGM. Treasure Island became TI. Imperial Palace became The Link. Every time, the same move. Rename the box, redecorate the box, and the box becomes whatever the market needs. But the Luxor is not a box. Tourists photograph it from 30,000 feet. It is the only casino on the Strip you can identify from cruising altitude. The shape says Egypt, whether MGM wants it to or not. $300 million, and the shape won. The building kept its identity by force of geometry. But the failed renovation was not the real problem. The real problem had been hiding in the basement since opening night. In February 2010, Clark County launched what was supposed to be a routine inspection of the Luxor. What they found was not routine. In March, inspectors pulled back a drop ceiling in the pyramid's basement and discovered 2 support columns that had never been finished. Partially cast concrete, hidden since construction. 17 years, thousands of guests sleeping, eating, and gambling directly above columns that were never completed. The county brought in Luxor Engineering to assess the casino floor above. Their conclusion, structurally deficient. Completing the 2 unfinished columns would not, in their words, fully resolve the structural repair requirements. In mid-July, the county ordered the basement section vacated. MGM relocated staff. Temporary support columns went in, while engineers designed a permanent fix for the floor that thousands of guests walk across every day. An MGM spokesman chose 8 careful words. Something we did not know about was discovered. Something. For 17 years, and that is still not the end of it. You will find claims online that the Luxor is sinking into the desert. The story is everywhere. It is a myth. Casino.org traced the source to an unpublished draft on a Nevada Encyclopedia development server, never reviewed, never officially published. The casino that actually had a documented sinking problem was Mandalay Bay, right next door, whose core settled over 17 inches during construction in 1998. The Luxor is not sinking. What is happening to it is less dramatic on paper and possibly harder to solve. It is being hollowed out, not structurally, economically. In the second quarter of 2026, MGM's Chief Operating Officer said it on an earnings call. The lower end of the segment, particularly Luxor and Excalibur, those do remain challenged. MGM's Las Vegas properties ran at 93% occupancy that quarter, essentially full, and room revenue still fell. Citywide, Las Vegas visitation sits 9% below 2019 levels. Average daily room rate across the Strip dropped 4%. Guest reviews from 2025 and 2026 paint the Luxor in detail you do not want to read before checking in. Broken ceiling tiles leaking odour from above, cracked floor tiles, hallway carpet so worn it snags your shoes, rooms that smell of mould. One guest requested a room change. The front desk said the hotel was sold out. A full building with nowhere to move you. In March 2026, MGM launched an all-inclusive package at the Luxor and Excalibur. 2 nights, 2 guests, meals, show tickets, parking included. $330 total, $165 per person for a 2-night casino stay, fed and entertained. Industry analysts had a clinical name for this, not innovation. Demand management for distressed inventory. $675 million invested between construction and renovation, and the rooms now move at prices that would embarrass a budget motel. This is where the Luxor arrives at a trap only a pyramid can set. You cannot renovate it into something new. MGM already spent $300 million trying. The shape overrides every interior change. You cannot easily tear it down. Industry sources say demolition has been discussed for at least 5 years. But imploding a 30-story glass pyramid on the most valuable mile of real estate in the country, flanked by operating casinos on both sides, with union contracts governing every worker on the project, has kept that option firmly on paper, and you cannot let it decay. The Luxor sits between Mandalay Bay and Excalibur, connected to both by enclosed walkways, embedded in MGM's South Strip ecosystem. A crumbling pyramid on that skyline damages everything around it. So MGM does what you do when every exit is closed. Spend enough to hold the building together, not enough to fix it. The pool was demolished and rebuilt earlier this year, reopening July 4th. The beam fires nightly at half power. The all-inclusive packages push rooms at rates that undercut airport hotels, and the reviews keep getting worse. The Luxor is not really a casino anymore. It is a holding pattern shaped like a tomb. But there is one part of this pyramid that is not dying. One part that, against every intention, is more alive than it has ever been. The sky beam. 39 xenon lamps, each one the size of a washing machine. At full power, 42 billion candle power, the strongest man-made light on Earth fired straight into the Mojave sky, costing $51 an hour to run. Since 2008, half those lamps have been dark. That should have made the beam irrelevant. Instead, it did something nobody planned. Every night, even at half power, the remaining lamps pull massive swarms of moths and insects from the surrounding Mojave. The insects draw Brazilian free-tailed bats, some travelling 20 miles from caves at Red Rock Canyon, crossing the city to feed in the glow. The bats draw owls and American kestrels, raptors circling the apex of a Las Vegas casino, hunting by the light of the world's most expensive lamp. A complete food chain, stacked vertically on top of a building that cannot seem to support anything else. In 2019, after an unusually wet winter, the light helped draw 46 million pallid-winged grasshoppers to the Las Vegas Valley. The swarm was dense enough to register on weather radar. The Las Vegas Strip is splitting in two. At one end, ultra-luxury towers raise their rates and book record quarters. At the other, themed resorts from the 90s are being gutted, renamed, or quietly abandoned. The Luxor sits at the exact fracture point. Too iconic to demolish, too expensive to fix, too geometric to become anything else. Some monuments survive because they were built to last. The Luxor survives because nobody can figure out how to let it go. And every night the beam still fires, half as bright as it used to be, $51 an hour, into a sky full of moths that feed the bats that feed the owls circling a pyramid that no one quite knows what to do with. If you made it this far, you are the kind of person who looks at a landmark and wonders what it costs to keep the lights on. Subscribe, we keep asking.